Hello, friendos. Welcome to the first ever Small Town Gamer movie review. It's going to be kind of off the cuff, as per my normal stuff, but let's try to at least get everything. We'll try to make it as organized as possible, but my brain likes to go all over the place. So, as you saw in the title, we are reviewing Detective Pikachu, baby. So, first off, let me say, congratulations, Legendary. You have made the best video game adaptation, or movie adaptation of a video game. I don't know how you did it, but you did. Like, it seems to be a curse with video game based movies, but you did it. You did it, and I'm so proud of you. So, good job. It wasn't as bad. It's no Mario, Super Mario Brothers. Sorry, Super Mario Brothers. It's no Super Mario Brothers. So, Pokemon fans, rest easy. But we're gonna get into a little bit more of it as we go. But for right now, I just wanted to congratulate you on a job well done. It's second in the box office, which, honestly, to be honest with you, that's still a good job because what they're going up against is something that, number one, has not been done before. I get kind of hasn't been done before. I mean, Avengers Infinity War did it, and now we've got Avengers Endgame, which, go see it. It's really good too. But I also have to say, again, Detective Pikachu is really good. Like, there's no way to say any more about it as of right now. But again, Legendary, you did a good job. Congratulations. So, excuse me. What is the story? So, if you've not played the game, Detective Pikachu, first of all, I don't blame you. The game is good for a point-and-click game for kids. As a point-and-click adventure game, or as like a puzzle-solving detective type game, it kind of missed the mark a little bit. But then again, I am an adult. It's not geared towards me, so it is what it is. So, what's the story? It basically follows the Detective Pikachu game story. Tim Goodman comes to Rhyme City to look for his father. That's the basic story. Well, I can go a little bit more in depth. He looks for his father and goes to his father's apartment where he finds his father's partner, Pikachu. And for some reason, Tim can understand Pikachu, and Pikachu can understand Tim, but Tim can't understand other Pokemon, and Pikachu can't understand people, but he can get what they're feeling. Like, that kind of premise was a little hit and miss. Like, that is the biggest problem with the story, is that the premise that Pikachu can't understand people, but he can understand what they're feeling. That's their way of explaining it, but to be honest with you, it almost seems like Pokemon can understand English, or at least the language that the movie is going to be in. So that was unclear, and that's my biggest criticism with the story, is that it's minor. Like, it's minor. If say he was like, oh, I can't understand anybody else, and then turns around and that girl's like, oh, he's so adorable. And he's like, yeah, I know I'm adorable and this, that, and the other. And you'd just be like, that's a big glaring flaw with the story. But he can understand what they're feeling, but can't necessarily understand what they're saying. So that's a little weird. But overall, the story was good. Now, the cast. Let's talk about this. So, coming off of Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds has gained pretty much a following for his comedy, his adult humor with Deadpool, obviously, and just kind of being a snarky, funny guy. He's not a douchebag, but he's snarky and he's funny, and the humor is him as a comedian actually works pretty well. He's garnered a following doing that. So when they got him cast as Detective Pikachu, I was a little worried. I was like, this is going to be a little bit different than Deadpool, but I was open to the idea. Ryan Reynolds killed it. Ryan Reynolds is amazing as Detective Pikachu. Justice Smith as Tim Goodman, he did a really good job. Like, he really made me feel like, he was there interacting with the Pokemon, and the Pokemon were interacting with him. But it's kind of like a fish out of water kind of story. Like, he's not comfortable with having a Pokemon partner, but he wants to. He kind of reluctantly wants a Pokemon partner. It's a little weird, but he does it really well, and it was great. Catherine Newton as Lucy Stevens, the reporter. I don't know if that was shown in the trailer. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I avoid trailers like the plague because I want to go into a movie feeling like, I know nothing about the movie. I watched maybe the teaser trailers or whatever pops up on in the theater there. Which, by the way, there was a trailer for Godzilla King of Monsters. I am so excited for that movie. But I'm a huge Godzilla fan. It may not be for you, and that's fine. But Catherine Newton as Lucy Stevens, that was she was good. Like, she actually felt like someone who was trying to make it and make the reporter role kind of like, it was kind of stereotypical. Like, oh, I'm a woman and I'm trying to prove that I can do it, but at the same time, I don't expect any kind of groundbreaking plot lines in a Pokemon movie. So she was really good. Bill Nighy was really good in it. As Howard Clifford, and where's his son? Oh, there it is. Chris Gere as Roger Clifford. He did a good job as well. I'm not going to go in too much detail with their character arcs or whatever, but just know that those two, they did a good job in their roles. Ken Watanabe. Watanabe? Yeah, I think it's Watanabe. I recognize him from the Godzilla films. Like, I was halfway expecting him to say, "Let them fight." So it kind of hurt my heart that Rhyme City doesn't have a Pokemon Battle League, and he didn't say "let them fight." It made me sad because I like Godzilla. Ironically enough, I'm going to talk about Godzilla in a Pokemon review. I like Godzilla, so I like the American Godzilla well enough. It had its flaws, But I just wanted him to say, "Let them fight," like he did in the movie, because that I can be neat, my own niche. Don't judge me. I'll be a judgy Jason. We got off topic here. So the writing, the biggest problem that I was going to have going into this movie, which is why I took my niece, by the way, guys. I took my niece so that she can watch the film with me and enjoy Detective Pikachu, because I'm a good uncle and I got her into Pokemon as early as I could. You're welcome. I want my nephew to get into Pokemon as well, but he's a little too young. But going on, the writing. So it's your basic noir film where, uh, they're just trying to solve a mystery. It's almost like Scooby Doo and the gang, except there's no gang and it's just Scooby and Shaggy, and maybe a Daphne or Velma. Didn't they try to do like a love story between Shaggy and Velma and it didn't work or something like that? I don't know. I don't think they needed that in Scooby Doo at all. But the writing was very well done. Like, it's your basic noir story. It's simple enough for kids to understand, but they threw in quite a few adult jokes so that parents, you don't have when your kid is begging you to go see Detective Pikachu, it's not a slog, and it doesn't treat you like an idiot. So, way to go, Legendary. I mean, they really did well with this movie. So I guess I'm throwing my opinion out first before I have my final thoughts and stuff like that. But they had adult jokes in there. It's simple enough for kids to understand. It's all around a great movie, and I highly, highly recommend it. Again, putting my opinion out there. So, the music. One thing that I feel like you have to nail in, like, video game based movies is the music. Like, if you're going to make a Mario movie, you need to have the Mario theme or the overworld theme, athletic theme, whatever. You have to have something that people can relate this back to Mario. It would be the same if they did a Legend of Zelda movie. I would want them to tie it back. And again, if they ever wanted to branch out and do a Metroid movie, I would be on board with that. I would love to see a Metroid movie. Maybe get Sigourney Weaver in there as like maybe a scientist or something, because since Metroid is heavily inspired by Alien, having Sigourney Weaver in there. Nintendo, call me up. I'll give you some good ideas. Or bad ones. More than likely bad ones, because I'm terrible. But the music, they had enough to where if you're a Pokemon fan, you will recognize some things. I'm not going to go into depth with the music because if it's not in the trailer, I don't want to ruin anything for you guys. So definitely go see that, and hopefully, you hear something that you associate with Pokemon. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for all that I got for Detective Pikachu. My final thoughts are, Legendary, you killed it. You nailed it. You nailed it. Like, this movie is not mediocre. Like, even the best of video game movies are kind of mediocre. I'm just going to lay that out there. Mortal Kombat It was a good movie. It wasn't mind-blowingly great, but it was a good movie. It's watchable, and you can still point out like how dumb some things are and how good some things are, but it's not one of those movies where you're just like, oh my god, they nailed it, because they didn't have any real gruesome fatalities like they did in the game in the 90s. They no, they didn't really have a whole lot of blood, so they didn't really nail what made Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat. They got the characters right, um, which was really good. So Mortal Kombat is one of those movies where you can watch it and appreciate it, but it's not one of those movies where you can just recommend to anybody. Resident Evil is almost the exact same way. They give enough fan service and it's serviceable as a movie, but it's not 100% recommendable to anybody who doesn't know. So like Resident Evil was made for people who don't know anything about Resident Evil. It didn't really have a whole lot of the character. I don't think it had any characters. The first one, at least, didn't have any characters except for. Did it have Wesker? I don't know. I'll have to go back and watch it again, but I don't think it had Wesker. Silent Hill. I think they messed up the actual place and they made it like haunted, but they got some of the monsters there, so it was kind of, again, it was serviceable. But for if I'm to recommend a video game based movie, Detective Pikachu would be it, because it captured Pokemon. It's a good family film. And I can highly recommend it. So, if you've not seen Detective Pikachu, go see Detective Pikachu. If you are on the fence about seeing it, go see it. If you're an adult with children and you've got the money to spare to go to the movies, and they're at that age where they can sit through a movie, I recommend it, because my niece sat through the whole thing. She asked questions because she's not 100% familiar with Pokemon, but she's familiar enough to recognize Pikachu and Squirtle and Charmander. I think she recognized Charizard too. I'm not 100% sure, but I know she recognized Charmander. So yeah, this movie's good for fans and for non-fans, and it's great for kids because it's simple for them to understand, and adults can laugh at the adult humor. So that's really all I got to say about that, guys. So that's been my first ever review. I'm going to cut some things because that's the nature of these things. But yeah, Detective Pikachu, go see it. And that's all I really got.